introductions for us. So I'm Erica Keating. I'm the executive director of the Lindbergh Schools Foundation. I've been in my role about 6 years doing this, and through those years we've continued to grow the scholarship program to what it is today. I'm going to give you a tiny background of the foundation in case you've never heard of it before, you don't know what we do. We're an umbrella organization, and we have 3 partner programs or committees. The Alumni Association, which they give scholarships, and that's their main goal, is to raise funds to give scholarships to you seniors. Lindbergh Lights the Way, which helps support our families and students who might be in crisis. They also give 2 scholarships. And then the Lindbergh Retired Educators, they're more of a social group for anyone who retires from the Lindbergh School District, can be a part of that club, but they raise funds for Angels Arms foster families and to give scholarships. So all 3 of our programs have different scholarships. Again, here just a little bit about alumni. Their scholarships to date, they've been in existence since 1989, and they've given 243 students a total of $183,000 in scholarships. They also have a trivia night to raise funds, and they do a lot around homecoming. Lindbergh Lights the Way, they have multiple programs to help our families that are in need and in crisis. So you probably hear their name a lot and see that out there, but they give 2 $500 scholarships each year to seniors. Again, Lindbergh Retired Educators, and what's special about their scholarships is to apply for them, you have to have a parent that works for or worked for Lindbergh Schools, or could be somebody who works for a special school district within Lindbergh Schools can apply for those. And another thing that we do, so again, the overview, we give out grants. So we have our biggest piece is scholarship. Our next biggest piece would be grants. These are just a few that we've given out this year. We usually give out between $30,000 and $40,000 in classroom grants to our staff throughout Lindbergh. But this is why you're here, so we'll talk about scholarships. Overall, the foundation has given a little over $1 million in scholarships to high school seniors since 1998 when we began. And this May, we're going to give out another $195,000. It'll be our biggest year ever. And so you guys, hopefully I'll see you right back here. It's actually April now. We moved it up to April. So in April, I hope I see you all right here in the audience for your own child. Pictures from last year. There's a large number of students that are selected every year. We do, I don't have anything to do with any of the selection of any of the scholarships. It's the individual donors who create each scholarship that has committees. So we do our best to tell them to try to, pick as many students as possible so we can really share the wealth. There will be some students who get more than 1, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 scholarships. But for the most part, most kids get one. We try to keep it that way so to share the wealth again. But we can't tell our donors it's their money to give it the way that they want to give it. Let's see. Okay, so how does your kiddo or you guys, how do you get a piece of this $200,000 pie that we're giving out? You guys have to ask yourself, would you rather spend hours filling out scholarship applications or years paying off student loans? That's really what it comes down to. It's going to take some work. These are due January 8th. Don't wait until January 6th to start. Our donors have been reading these for years. They're going to know. They know where that quality is. They can tell if you've spent a day or two or if you've spent weeks working on these. So all of the scholarships opened up for our seniors on October 3rd. The scholarship class, it's a class on Canvas that every high school senior has been invited to. This was shared out during PAC classes. So I've got a couple of students. Did you guys get to watch this during senior PAC? Like, did you watch anything about starting a scholarship? Maybe, maybe not. No, are you guys seniors? You're juniors. Oh, you guys are ahead of the game. Okay, all right, so she might not have seen it. Okay. All right, so I did do like a how-to video, how to get started. And this is good that you told me that too, so we can kind of talk a little bit to junior parents and senior parents together. Seniors, your kiddos have been added. Juniors, next year in October, you'll get added into this, but you're gonna be ahead of it, okay. So here's the timeline. Now through January 8th, you're going into your Canvas course and you're applying. Mid-January, it's gonna close. January 8th, it closes. Mid-January, the counseling department and the foundation office checks to make sure that all applications are anonymous, and then we send them in packets out to our donors. And the donors do the scoring and selecting. They have all of February to do that. Takes a long time. Last year, more than 1,200 applications were turned in. And then in early March, those numbers are due back to me, and I can look at student number 1234 has received this scholarship, so I'll call student number 1234 and let them know you've been invited to the scholarship night. Hi, come on in. And then Wednesday, April 2nd is this year's senior scholarship night. We always do it that first Wednesday of April. So juniors, you'll know when yours is. It's always the first Wednesday of April. That night, students do receive their awards and their checks, and they get to meet donors that evening. So let's go to that Canvas course so you can see. Whoop, we're gonna leave student view. If your student has Canvas open, you're gonna see a dashboard that looks similar to this. All seniors have been added to a course that's called Foundation Scholarships. So they'll go into this. I am gonna go into student view so you can see what your student would see. Super straightforward, 1, 2, 3. I try to make it as easy as possible. You've got to click here to start, which is the same thing as gonna take them to modules. When they're in there, you're literally gonna go where it says start here, and you're gonna work your way down. There's a part 1 application, and that's the piece where I was telling you guys it's important to have that information of all the different activities and things that you've been involved in since freshman year. So let's look at this one. This is something that every student has to do. So the very first thing is they need to ask for an ID number, because like I said, all of these are anonymous. So they're gonna email these people. Those people will email back. Mrs. Keegan is one of those people, right away what your ID number is. And then that ID number gets added into the top of every single application that you fill out. So part 1, they're going to be filling out about colleges, where they've applied, if they've been accepted, if they haven't been accepted, their intent for major field of study. If you don't know what you're intending to major in, put that and put something that you might be interested in. A thoughtful description of yourself. If there's any financial need or circumstance that you want to share. Again, remember that these are going to be anonymous. Only people who know what person goes with what number is my office and like 2 people in the counseling office. So it's two foundation people and 2 counseling people. So this is not shared with donors. There are a few scholarships where letters of recommendation are asked for, and those will have a big note on them and say, because there's a letter of recommendation, this scholarship is not anonymous, the donors will know who you are. So you'll see that as you're working through that as well. And that's kind of what this consent is. We do sometimes have media. Now that our numbers are getting bigger, we have media that sometimes comes, so we're saying, is it okay for us to take your picture, or would you consent to talking to media if they want to interview you? Every time you apply, your student's transcript is also included in that application packet to the donors. Again, their name is taken off the top, so they're just seeing their grades, their GPA, and their attendance on there. And then here saying what I talked to you guys about, the anonymity of all the scholarships except for the ones that are otherwise stated. And then these are those pages where I was telling the junior families to start now, because it's kind of hard to go back and think, but every kid, you're gonna have to go in here and put your leadership, your service, extracurricular, sports, work experience, special awards, and honors. And it can take some time. You might have to sit and think, look back at calendars, look back at pictures, really think. And if you get stuck and you're not sure exactly how to state something or put something on here, it has you estimating how many hours you might be working on these, how many months, and then how many hours per month on these. If you get stuck on something, you can email me, you can email the advisor of these groups and say, how would you do this? But it's really so that donors can lay these applications next to each other and kind of compare. So that's part one of the application. Once they do that, and this is my biggest tip to you guys, this 1B. Everybody has to do 1A. 1B is going to be the helpful piece for you. So your student will go in here, they will click on this list, they'll make a copy and save it for themselves, okay? A tip that I always say is, anything you're doing in this, have your student make a folder in Google Drive and save everything into that same folder. Maybe name it scholarship stuff or whatever you want to name it. So now you've made a copy, and you can name it, Erica's copy, okay? This is mine, I can do whatever I want with it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start at the top here, and you're just gonna simply start going through the different criteria. And you can do this pretty quickly. I see Lisa Amon, you have to be involved in musical theater drama. Okay, I'm not, so I'm gonna delete that one out right away. And you're gonna keep moving forward. I don't play football either. And you're just gonna keep going through this list, and it is long, guys. There are 68 different options for scholarships right now. You're gonna go through this list until you have it completely cleaned up and it only has the scholarships that you are eligible for. Then, I like paper, I'd probably print it unless it was pages long. Put your copy somewhere that you've got it, and you can say, okay, which ones are the ones that I think I wanna go for first? Each one's gonna have a little essay question. You might wanna start there. Oh, that really makes sense to me. I have something easy I can write about. Then start with those. And you're gonna go back into the Canvas course, and you're gonna start right here. So like I said, Lisa Amon didn't work for me, Gary Amstutz didn't work for me, but maybe Wayne Ashwell does. So you'll go in there and you'll fill out the Wayne Ashwell scholarship. I'm gonna show you one of those. Again, you'll go in here, you'll make yourself a copy. If you do name it with your name, it's fine. We're gonna, like I said, my office is gonna make them all anonymous anyway, but make sure you put your scholarship ID number up here. If you double click in your header and you type it, it's magic and it shows up on every page. So do that. You'll read a little bit about every single one of these scholarships will be set up like this. You'll see the name of it, how much the scholarship award is worth, a little information about that scholarship, the person, why it was set up, the criteria again, and then your essay question. And then you're gonna just type your answer right here on the page. You'll type your answer, go back to Canvas, upload your assignment just like your kids do for homework. So upload there. Once we get those assignments, we mark them complete or incomplete. If you see an incomplete, there'll be a little note that says, you forgot your letter of recommendation, or you didn't fill out this part, or you uploaded a blank document, whatever it is. We're not in the business of not helping kids. We want to help your kids. So tell them to check it, see if it says complete, incomplete. If they're not hearing from us, tell them to email us, send us a note, whatever. We wanna help and keep this moving forward. So it's a lot, but that is the Canvas course. I pause for a second and see if there's questions about the Canvas course. Straightforward enough? Okay. And at the bottom where it says you're finished now what, it's just gonna give you those dates again saying, okay, you're gonna wait, this is the date you'll hear. Don't get upset if you haven't heard by March 1st, it might be March 3rd, like that kind of good stuff. Okay, so we'll hop back out of Canvas and go back here. Again, the essay, just a couple things tip-wise, because I do talk to so many of my donors and they give me a lot of feedback. They really want to get to know you, who you are beyond that part one. They see your grades, they got your transcript, they see that you were on student council and NHS, and you were captain of the soccer team, and you were this and this and this. They know you're involved, they know you're a great student, but they want to know who you are beyond that. So be original, try not to be like copy pasting and using the same essay over and over. There's definitely pieces that you'll be able to reuse, but try to like put a spin on it and make it make sense. Somebody that told me this, and I thought it was interesting, it was one of a person who grades a lot of these, said, tell them to avoid using quotes or really long ones. And I said, why? And they said, well, they have 300 words. And if they're using 100 of them to type out a quote, I'm not getting to know that kid. Like, okay, so use your quotes sparingly or smartly or intelligently. Talk about why you deserve the scholarship. If there's a question that says, how will you use this scholarship? Don't put, I will buy books. They want to know what you're going to do after you've read those books, after you've taken those courses. Like, give them the next step. What's beyond that? What are those books going to allow you to do? What are those your classes going to allow you to do? Or what lives will you change someday? Again, research. That little blurb that says the Wayne Ashwell Scholarship was created in memory of, maybe, Google Wayne Ashwell. Ask me about Wayne Ashwell. Talk around and figure out a little bit about this person, and then maybe what connects you to that person. And this is just I know it's a lot, but you guys have months. You have October, November, December, part of January. So you have a lot of time if you start whittling away at this a little bit. Juniors are getting a heads up a little bit. That list is out there. It's on our website of this year's scholarships. I wouldn't start writing all your essays and stuff, but you can begin doing some of your research on some of this and kind of getting a little bit of a leg up if you want to. Work over summer. So just find out who this person is and how you can relate to them. That'll really help. Fill out everything. Don't skip any sections. Especially on that first piece, the financial need circumstance. A lot of kids leave that blank because they think, oh, I've got this. I can figure it out. Both my mom and dad have jobs. We'll figure it out, that good kind of thing. Okay, there are a few circumstances where I could see that out of our 600 seniors that are here. But I bet there's a lot of them that are going to need to apply for scholarships, are going to need to apply for loans. So it could be that mom and dad, there's been a sickness or somebody's, been a crisis. We want to know about that for sure. But it could also be as simple as, hey, mom and dad are doing great and we're fine, but they're putting all the responsibility of the college on my shoulders. So I am taking out loans and I'm going to have a work-study job, and any little bit can help. It doesn't seem like that's a huge deal to some kids, so a lot of them leave it blank, but just that little bit can help in some circumstances if it's between student number 1 and student number 2, or right here even, and this person really needs the financial aid, it could push them ahead. So just think about it, really be honest though, and share what you can. If it says it's optional, like it's an optional letter of recommendation, do it anyway. It can't hurt you to do that. And you can go in, and Mrs. Keegan can tell you about how you can request letters of recommendation through her website too. It's very simple, and those can be used for this. When you're finished, have somebody double check it for you. If you don't have somebody at home that can do it for you, take it to the writing lab, ask your English teacher, anybody, ask a friend to proofread it. I cannot tell you how many of these scholarships are turned in just chock full of spelling errors. I mean, all the little red squiggles. Don't turn anything in with little red squiggles. Check it, figure out why Google Docs thinks it's spelled wrong, and just fix it. A lot of these people who read these are former teachers, so they're gonna notice. So proofread for all of the things. Word limits on there. Be mindful of it, but don't let your kid stress out if it's 1 or 2 over or under. I promise nobody's sitting there reading it, and with 1,200 applications coming in, we're not running those through a counter, so don't like stress out over word limit too terribly much. I just put a couple of links for other scholarship resources on here. Mrs. Keegan's going to talk a lot more about these. One thing that I always share is my oldest son, who is now graduated from college. He was a caddy at Sunset Country Club from 7th grade all the way through high school, and he applied for a scholarship called the Chick Evans Scholarship. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a scholarship for caddies, and it is full ride, 4 years. You have to go to Mizzou if you live in live in Missouri. There's a different Evans Scholars House in certain states that you can go to, and because of him being a caddy and his good caddy record and his grades and his involvement, he earned that scholarship. And it was not even something that was on our radar when he first started caddying. It was just a good summer job. And my point of sharing is just ask. Like, you don't know what's out there. I feel like there's so much money that's nobody's going after. So, and then anybody at home that's watching, if you have a student who's going into a vocation or a trade, we have a ton of scholarships for those kids. So you don't have to be going to a 2-year or a 4-year university to apply for some of our scholarships. Not all of them are based on grades or merit. Some of them are simply you have to have a part-time job and give back to your community. So there's so many different types of scholarships. Just go through the list, and even if you don't think you would qualify, I say that there's at least one on there that you'll qualify for. So, any questions for me, foundation scholarship-wise? Amy? Yes, no. Here, let's go back to that slide. Here's the deadline. So it's open now. All seniors have access to it. They can work through January 8th. And we are going to have 2 scholarship help sessions, one in December and one in January. Those will go out soon. I know we're getting the rooms booked, and I can't think of the dates right off the top of my head. But I come up here during A and B lunch, and kids can come in and show me what they've got, ask questions. I can read over stuff then if they need my help with that, or they're stuck and they don't know where to go. But that one in January is literally the Monday after we come back from break. So it's 2 days before this is due. So if you come in on January 6th and you haven't started, I'm going to give you a little pat and go, it's going to be okay, but you're not going to be able to apply for 20 scholarships. You're going to pick 1 or 2 and go to work. And that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes that's all we have time for. So here's the timeline. This will get shared out to everybody. And I will turn it over to Mrs. Kate Keegan. And I want to stick around too, so if there's other questions, oh no, okay. Then you can ask me after.
Hi, I'm Kate Keegan. I'm the college and career counselor here at Lindbergh. So juniors, I start working with juniors now too, and then definitely in your senior year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about other scholarship resources and financial aid. So applying for need-based financial aid. If you haven't heard of the FAFSA, just remember that. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. You can't apply for that until your senior year. This year it's going to open on December 1st. So seniors can start applying for that on December 1st. This is how you apply for federal and state grants, loans, and work study. It's all based on your family's income, and we really recommend, people say, I don't think that we'll qualify. I still encourage every student to fill this out because it will be helpful in the long run. And you're also applying for federal issued loans, which if you're gonna take out loans, those are typically the ones with the lowest interest rates. So like I said, it's supposed to open on December 1st of this year. It changed completely last year, and there were a couple problems. So hopefully this year they have those all ironed out, and it will open on December 1st. Some colleges will require this. It will be a requirement for any kind of scholarships, where others, it's not a requirement, but again, I highly do encourage students to fill this out. Some schools will even go a bit further, and in addition to the FAFSA, they will ask for the CSS profile, which is like a deeper dive into your family's finances. And then there's also, many schools will have school-specific financial aid forms. So really just pay attention to this when you're looking at school websites. See what's needed for scholarships and for financial aid. But really remember the FAFSA. You'll get lots of information sent out from the counseling office about this, and just have December 1st on your radar. What to know about the FAFSA? It changed, so if any of you went to college yourself and completed the FAFSA, or if you have older children that's done it, it is gonna look a little bit different. And I'm gonna tell you, from a personal standpoint, I've helped a lot of kids fill out the FAFSA. I now have my own kids at home that I'm doing it with. It is easier, so that at least is a really good thing about this. The form is shorter. You will automatically be linked to the IRS. So that makes it easier. There's less numbers that you have to put in. So you'll have to do that data retrieval tool. What was formerly called the EFC, the Expected Family Contribution, is now called the SAI, the Student Aid Index. So the numbers are gonna look a little bit different. So just be aware of that change. One of the things that's changing that isn't very popular is families with multiple children in college will no longer get a break. The idea behind this is that they are giving more money, so hopefully it won't hurt anybody, but that is a big thing, that if you have multiple children in college, that doesn't really look the same from the FAFSA standpoint. What can you do right now? Juniors, not you, but seniors, what you can do right now is you can register for your FSA ID. We will be sharing out this presentation. I have it linked here. So what the FSA ID is, it is essentially your username and password for that FAFSA form. For parents, if you yourself have been to college recently, or you have an older student, you will use that same FSA ID. Then your student also needs a separate FSA ID, okay? It links to your social security numbers. Write this down. It's not impossible to retrieve if you lose this information, but they don't make it easy because of the social security number and your personal information. So you can go ahead and register that FSA ID now, and I recommend that you do, because it does take a few days or weeks to verify that that's your information. Questions about anything? Okay. What you're gonna need when you sit down for that FAFSA, just to make it easier, I have this, just a little graphic to show you what you're gonna need. So make sure you have that FSA ID and password. All you'll need to get that FSA ID and password is your social security number. So make sure you have that. I know a lot of students don't know theirs, so just make sure you have that information ready to them. If you have any investments, businesses, or farms, you're gonna need to have that tax information. You're gonna need your 2023 tax information. So for seniors, it's called prior tax year, so you'll need your 2023 tax information. And then any assets that you have, checking accounts, savings accounts, any college funds that you have, and then if you receive child support. So if you have that information with you when you sit down to do that FAFSA, it'll make your life a lot easier. Questions about the FAFSA? Yes? So a parent, you're gonna use your social security number to create the FSA ID. A parent will need one, and your student will need one. Correct. Yeah, that's a good question, thank you. So then, moving along, so FAFSA is, that's all need-based financial need, grant money. And now we'll talk a little bit about scholarships, kind of like what Erica was talking about. So these are additional scholarships outside of the Lindbergh Foundation that you can apply for. There's really 3 different kinds of scholarships. There's the merit-based scholarships, and these are offered through the universities. So if I go apply to Mizzou, for example, I will know not only right away if I can be accepted to Mizzou, but if I'm going to be offered any merit-based scholarship, simply based on my ACT and or GPA. There's a sliding scale. So I'll know I got accepted, and I'm going to get $4,000 off every year that I go to Mizzou, based on my GPA and or ACT score. This is typically not a separate application. They're basing that off of your application for admissions. Every once in a while, it doesn't happen often, but you need to read about all the schools you're going to. There will be a separate application for these merit-based scholarships. In addition to these, within the university, there's also competitive scholarships. So this is a separate application, separate from the admissions application, and it usually has a different deadline. So a lot of these competitive scholarships, the deadline is December 1st or December 15th. So that's why it's important for students to apply for universities sooner rather than later, so then they have ample time to complete that scholarship application. These are competitive, so there's a set number of scholarships that they're going to give. Students apply for these, and then you see if you receive that or not. These can be full tuition, full rides. They can be $10,000 a year. It just depends on what the scholarship is for. And then there's private scholarships, like the Lindbergh Foundation scholarships. These could be through banks, different local organizations. I always tell students, have your parents check with their employers if they offer any scholarships. Or if a student's employed, check with their employer and see if they offer any scholarships. Again, this will be a separate application, separate deadlines. So you just want to make sure you keep track of those. These are some different resources, and again, I have these all linked, and we'll share this out with you, but where to find scholarships. One place is SchoolLinks. SchoolLinks is a web-based system that we use here at Lindbergh for post-college or post-high school planning. We do have a list of scholarships in there that we update constantly. There's national ones that are automatically uploaded every day, and then any of the local or regional ones I add weekly. So you want to check that. Again, check with employers and local organizations. Then I've also linked some scholarship databases here. These are all good ones. The one I'd really like to highlight is St. Louis Graduates. These scholarships that they offer are only for St. Louis high school students. So you really want to pay attention to those local and regional ones because there's a smaller competition pool. And then for any students that are first generation college students, meaning the first student or the first person in their family to graduate from college, a four-year university in the United States, there's a really nice list here of these first and family college scholarships. Tips for scholarships: don't pay for anything. If they ask you to pay for scholarships, you don't want to do that, okay? That you're applying for free money. You don't need to pay money for free money. Local scholarships are always your best bet. There's lots of great national scholarships, but sometimes it's 2 scholarships and there's upwards of 1 million people applying. So really pay attention to how many scholarships are being offered and who they're being offered to. Stay organized. This is a big one. Have a spreadsheet. Make sure you stay on top of deadlines. Make sure you know exactly what's needed to apply to make sure those applications are complete so you don't miss anything. And then some useful tools. I really like the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis. They're a local non-for-profit organization here that help students go to college and make it affordable. So I've got their information linked. They do FAFSA Frenzies, which is really like they'll talk to you about the FAFSA, they'll sit down and help you fill that FAFSA out. So that's a really useful tool. And then I also linked the mofasa.org. It's all about the FAFSA changes. So I do recommend looking that over. And then also a big one is there's a list of schools with reduced tuition for Missouri residents. So basically, these are out-of-state schools that give into or close to in-state college tuition. So this is great. My daughter is going to one of those schools. It's out of state. She feels like she's away, but we're still getting that in-state cost. So check those out. And that is all I have. Do anybody have any questions about anything at all? Okay, like I said, we'll be sharing this. I believe there's a video. If you have any questions at all about the foundation scholarships, you can always reach out to Erica Keating. If you have any questions about anything else we discussed, you can contact me in the counseling office here at the high school.